Sometimes the best way to predict the future is to create it. I remember one of the reasons why I wanted to escape the Matrix was because I was frustrated and I was disappointed in the world that I lived in. I was angry a lot about how quote unquote unfair it was to be in the position that I was in. I realize now that that was a torturous mindset that only infected me. It did not affect me. It was an infection. And I realized that I'm going to have to change some things and go through hell if I want to get out of this matrix. So, this video is essentially a voucher and a ticket, or at least a proof of going through hell. Going to hell and back involves a lot of heartache. It involves a lot of suffering. Sometimes you just don't get a break. Sometimes you're not going to be able to catch a break. And you might think that life and God is just punishing you for no reason. Well, maybe you're not getting what you want because you're capable of more. Maybe you're not getting what you want because there's something better out there for you. And it's time that you put in the effort and the work and the determination and have the determination to succeed in your endeavors and beset your enemies and the snakes, because there are going to be people in your life that you thought would always be there for you. You thought were not going to be an enemy. You thought they had your back until things got real. And then they were nowhere to be found. Or they were the ones that tried to kick you while you were down. Have you ever been in a fight before where people that don't even know you start to, and I'm talking about a spiritual fight, where people that you don't even know they just seem to be possessed by this demonic spirit and try to bring you down further? For me, that's what it's been like for for a long time, really, but the intensity has increased a lot over the past couple weeks. Going to this new gym, I've experienced a lot more like people just staring at you. And I think this has a lot to do with just retention, semen retention, but also just trying to make improvements and casual improvements every day. Because those casual improvements every day add up to a long-term high value, right? So people begin to notice that. But they also notice something different about you, especially if you're a male on semen retention. And other males I've noticed are at the gym getting like they're sending me dirty looks. And I've seen these kinds of looks before. And same with the women sometimes. Some of these women out there are doing this as well. And I can see the demonic essence in them. You know, when you can look into someone's eyes and you can see a kind of darkness. There's no twinkle. There's no twinkle of light at the end of the retina, you know. There's this blackness. And you can really see the soul of that person or the lack thereof. I'm not angry now anymore about the world that I live in. I've accepted the world that I live in. I accept that this is the spiritual fight of our time. I've accepted the fact that things aren't going to be easy from here on out. And I'm going to have to really maintain a proper balance and encourage other people to do the same. Because this is the kind of time where people start to take sides. And I don't like taking sides. I prefer peace and love above all other options. But sooner or later, someone's going to either be hot or cold. Someone's going to be an ally or not. And I'm starting to tell more further who is who and have the kind of spiritual discernment that thankfully God has granted me at this time. So I'm not angry. I am disappointed, though, at a lot of the choices that these people are making. There was this guy at the gym, super buff guy. Like, he had to be like 230 pounds, 6 feet tall, like, good looking guy. Like, he seems like he's got a lot going for him. And this guy starts talking to one of the girls next to me on this machine, and he's freaking simping for her, giving her all these like over the top compliments and just being like not who you thought he would be. And it's like, dude, you are a 6 foot tall, like 230 pound guy that's relatively good looking. Seems like he's got a lot going for him. Why are you simping? Like, why are you putting this girl on a pedestal? It made me pissed off, honestly. It made me really pissed off. It was just like, men like you are the reason that some women are so entitled. Because you keep giving women all this free attention. And you keep giving women validation that they haven't deserved. Now, I'm not saying you can't be acquaintances with women or you can't be polite or friendly or cordial. Of course you can, and I encourage that. But why on earth are you, a man of your stature, doing that kind of thing? It didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense at all. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term like Chad on the World Wide Web here, but like a Chad is like somebody that just seems to get all the girls, right? Like, he was a Chad. Like, if you would have thought he was anyway, until he opened his mouth. And you know, then I look around at some of the women that are just showcasing their bodies. You know, some of them are there to work out, and others are there to get attention from guys like this guy. And they're just there to be pretty. And it's like, you know, I was under the impression that this was a family gym that I was going to. I kind of was under the impression that it was like a Christian gym of some kind as well, but I'm not so sure anymore. But you know, we'll keep going for the time being, and I'll just kind of stick on my own, do my own thing. That's something else I've realized, is that when you have a lot of distractions, especially as men with women like that around, like, it's hard to focus, right? And there's a lot of temptations there too. Especially if you're trying to better yourself as a man. You know, you've got to be able to You've got to be prepared to walk away from women at all times, men. I know women, some of the women that are watching this, that may trigger them, but men, you've got to be prepared to walk away at all times. Otherwise, there's going to be no respect. And you're going to be that guy, that 6 foot tall, 230 pound guy that's frickin' simping. Oh, it makes me so angry sometimes. Like, and like when I noticed that it was angering me, I just let it. I just let the anger come because there was nothing else to do, and I accepted it. And I realized now that that anger was really just disappointment in where we're at as a society, where we're at as a species, and thinking about all of our ancestors and everything that they had to go through to get to this point. And here we are, just throwing it throwing it all away to some degree and treating it like trash, having no gratitude or respect for it. Of course, there are people out there that do have that kind of gratitude and respect. And to those that do, I salute you. I honor you. I appreciate you. But those that don't, my goodness, I don't have any tolerance for that kind of stuff anymore. It's just not even a part of me anymore. That part of me is dead. That part of me is remembered as a memory. It almost feels like a different kind of lifetime. I know a lot of people talk about like different lives in some like religions, or like Hindus and Buddhists, talk about past lives and all that. And I don't know if that's, I don't know. I really don't. I've had meditations and visions where I've been revealed certain things, but at the end of the day, I think your past lives can be in the same body to some degree, because as your spirit changes, so does your body. But in order for the body to really change, I think you first have to make that spiritual change. And so understanding that you are capable of more, and yeah, that it's going to take some work to get there, but my gosh, it's going to be worth it. Something about semen retention is it feels as though you are, sometimes anyway, at the top of a mountain overlooking the whole valley. And you can see like with the eyes of an eagle, and you can just tell sometimes just who is who and who's doing what for what reason. And it's almost like you can read minds to some degree, and you can almost like read the pattern of the day like quickly and where it's going so quick. Like you can just pick up the energy of certain people super quickly, right? Like it's almost as like, I don't know if this is true, but sometimes I think that my sense of smell is improved with semen retention. I don't know if that's a actual like benefit of semen retention, but it kind of feels like it sometimes. It just feels like you can pick up the pheromones of people easier as well, and you can just feel the essence of things going on. And noticing those patterns has been very helpful, and picking up on certain energies has been very helpful, because it helps me keep myself in check. It helps me keep myself accountable, and it helps me really maintain an emotional indifference to the outside world and be focused on just who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm focusing on. So really, what I want to conclude with is that remember why you went through hell. And if you're going through hell right now, remember that you're going to have to suffer in life always. As long as you're alive, you're going to suffer to some degree, one or the other. And how you willingly take on that suffering is completely up to you. Or not. But either way, you're going to suffer. And some people are like suffering and they don't even know it. They think that they're not suffering, and that's too bad, but what can be done? Keep your head swiveling, everybody. These are times of change. These are times of temptations. These are times of seeing how much you've got. Stay in the fight. And don't give up. With that being said, may peace be with you this day. Till next time.